Tremendous to have your company on Australia's sports leader Fox Sports. Welcome in beautiful weather conditions to the Crest Stadium at Bass Hill in Sydney's southwest. Today it's round 11 New South Wales Cup action. The Newtown Jets, who have had a pretty good season thus far in 2011, they face the Canterbury Bulldogs, current leaders of the New South Wales Cup. There's the Bulldogs: Cutler, Nanai, Ravakava, Tiakalifi, Roach, Roberts, Romello, Tapau, Smith, Hodgson, Millington, Warburton and Armit. A stack of experience on the bench, particularly in the case of Brad Moran. The coach is Justin Holbrook. Now look at the visiting Newtown Jets, who have won 6 matches in 2011. Pritchard, Ford, Vautu, Trotter, Kerr, Ford, Lazarus, Tuagamala, Jones, Deeb, Courtner, Takarangi, Ilias. The coach is Greg Madison. Watch for big Ryan Verlinden coming in off the bench in jumper number 17. He can do plenty of damage. So far as their form is concerned, leading into this match last week, the Jets went down to the Windsor Wolves. The Bulldogs prevailed over the Central Coast Centurions by 30 points to 14. Right now, let's say good afternoon to our sideline eye, Drew Forbes.
Big match up this afternoon, and we're joined by Canterbury coach Justin Holbrook against a Jets side that's been a little inconsistent, but you know they're always going to give you a run for your money.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You're right, they have been a little bit inconsistent, but they've got a very good side, and they'll obviously be looking to bounce back from last week's loss, so they will be tough, yeah.
We need to talk about a few structures in your team. Josh Reynolds got called up to the first grade team, one of your best, missing today. You've just released Reece Jack, and so talk us about some changes. And Ben Roberts playing at 5'8" today, who's just been signed to Parramatta next season.
Yeah, I guess there has been a bit of reshuffling. Obviously, Joshy Reynolds played last night. It was great to see him make his debut. That's obviously our stepping stone. That's what we want it for, New South Wales Cup, to provide first graders. With Benny Roberts, he actually missed last week through injury, and as you said, he's sort of sorted out where he's playing next year. But he's been excellent for us every week, so we expect him to do the same today.
And who's going to fill the void, the role that Reece Jack would have been playing?
Well, we've obviously got a number of good players there. We'd just probably shuffle around a bit and give other guys a bit more game time. So a bloke like Joel Romello can probably play 80 minutes, whereas in the past he wasn't, to try and sort of fit Reece in. So, yeah, I think we should be okay.
And we're here with Newtown Jets coach Greg Madison. Greg, a huge test today against the defending premiers.
Yeah, they've got a lot of quality players, and we're going to have to be on our best to match them.
What about the fact that you're missing so many players? You were saying earlier there's actually 12 players from the Roosters first grade squad unavailable, really testing the resources of the Jets, surely.
Yeah, that's correct, and we've got a couple missing as well, but with our relationship with Cabra, we've been able to promote a few young blokes, and hopefully they can do the job. It's a good opportunity for them.
Talk us through some of those young blokes coming to the side today and a few of the changes.
Oh, young James Trotter, big Francis Tuagamala. Scotty Jones has been up for a few weeks, and we got Boyd Cordner back at the last minute, which is a bonus.
Scotty Jones has to be the smallest bloke in New South Wales Cup with the biggest heart, doesn't he?
We call him and Ryan Verlinden twins, actually.
Thanks for your time, Greg, and good luck today.
Thanks, Sherry. Come, mate.
As we stand and face towards the west, let us remember those men and women who gave their lives in the defence of our country. They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them, lest we forget. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, there he is, Greg Maddison, chatting with Drury Forbes. Greg has been at the Newtown Jets for a number of years now and former coach of the New South Wales Residents as well. Players take to the park. Unseasonably warm conditions here at Bass Hill. Peter Mulholland beside me. Good afternoon.
Yes, it is, David. It's a very good afternoon here this afternoon. As you said, a little bit more like late summer. An interesting match this afternoon. Canterbury should be well and truly favourites based on the players they've got on the field, and I would anticipate them winning this match this afternoon.
So the Bulldogs running left to right on your screen in this first half. It'll be Hodgson that takes the first hit up with the match. He was crunched by Boyd Cordner. Got in there quickly. And the Bulldogs just dropping the one game in 2011. Premiership high flyers. Over on the far side, it's Grant Millington. So the Bulldogs prepared to spread the ball very early in the tackle count. They now work it back towards the centre. This facility at Crest Stadium, a multi-purpose sporting facility, as you can see, with the athletics track on the outside. It certainly makes for a slightly different perspective of a game of rugby league. And they now go down the short side from Nathan Smith to Hodgson again, his second touch in this set. So Smith back at hooker after spending some time in the back row in recent times. He's accustomed to playing at number 9. He'll have no problems with that. First kick of the game, high in the air. It's fielded by Reece Pritchard, about 10 out from his own line. Now tackled on his own 20 by Joel Romello.
You talk about the different perspective for television. It's also hard for the players, Dave. It's hard to gauge a sideline, and the in-goals are very, very shallow here this afternoon.
Might take this opportunity as we watch Newtown hitting it up to go down to our sideline commentator, Drury Forbes. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, David. Good afternoon, Peter. Beautiful afternoon here in Sydney southwest this afternoon. No breeze to speak of. Both sides probably their most depleted they've been at all season, so it could prove to be a bit of a leveller. The Bulldogs, of course, without Josh Reynolds, who's their chief playmaker and try-scoring machine, Michael Lett. The Jets without a host of players. And looks like we're set for a good one. Canterbury leading the top of the table, but Newtown always provided a good contest.
Yeah, Newtown will be competitive here today. And full credit to this club too. The hard-working people behind the scenes, the likes of Terry Rowney and Stuart McCarthy, for example, keeping the Jets foundation strip alive. And their supporters do travel, Peter. There are plenty of Jets fans here today as we see Tia Khalifi in heavy traffic.
Yeah, they love their game of footy, and it's good to play traditional clubs as well, David. I think that's the important part. But, you know, you talk about Newtown, and Drury's talking about the depletion of the side, and I think what Drury said is very, very true. They always compete, Newtown.
Tapau plays the ball from Smith and across to the lock forward Chris Armott. A gain of 7 or 8 metres on tackle number 5. The Bulldogs work themselves into a good attacking opportunity. Ben Roberts puts that ball high in the air. Some pressure for the Jets. Well taken by Byron Ford, the left winger, who came in to take that football. Reece Pritchard a few metres away looking at it, the Jets custodian. This is Pritchard now, speaking of him. Down the short side, he's tackled by Ben Roberts, driven towards the eastern touchline. Had the presence of mind to flick the football back infield. That was great aggressive defence by the Bulldogs.
Yeah, I think a few players just checked in a bit too early, retreated a bit early, because that ball was there for the taking for the Bulldogs. Would have proved dangerous had they got possession at that stage.
Scotty Jones acting half for the Jets in jumper 18. Been a real journeyman. Former Cabramatta and Shell Harbour player. Here he goes now, darting down the short side. He certainly has slipped into this New South Wales Cup level very well after making the transition from the Bundaberg Red Cup. There's a driving kick that will go into touch on the eastern side of the ground. Cutler was there watchful. It was a good kick, about 10 out from the Bulldogs line.
Seconds, bind, pull him in, arms down. Bind him, pull him in.
So loose and feed will go to Canterbury. Luke Phillips in charge of this match today. Certainly an emerging refereeing talent. And the Bulldogs running it away from the scrum win. I think Phillips is pretty highly regarded at Rugby League headquarters too, and I know from talking to him, he's loving this refereeing caper. Now across to Gary Warburton, down to the sideline, Drury.
Yeah, let's not forget Luke's mum, Cheryl, who's always watching the show, Tappy.
Good point, mistake by the Dogs, so we'll see a scrum pack.
And you just see here Gary Warburton, just a loose play of the ball, being probably the best player for the Bulldogs throughout this season. Unlucky not to be up in first grade, but yeah, just a simple error there. Just did not control the ball.
Not good enough at this level, is it?
No, it's not.
So Lazarus, the former Balmain right Eastwood Tiger, feeds a scrum, and Jones, he got the ball away to Francis Vautu, and he was wrapped up quickly by Romello. Jones fires the ball away to Boyd Courtner on his right. So this is the first time we've really seen the Jets with some decent field position. Jones got the ball away to Ahmed Ilias, and he was well tackled by Hodgson and also Ben Roberts. Across to the open side, Lazarus. Inside ball to Big Tuagamala, massive man. It takes 3 Bulldogs to put him on the deck. Ahmed led the charge in that regard with Smith. Now they go right. Great chance for the Jets. Akarangi out there, well picked off, good defence. Copybook tackle, in fact. Now the short side, and it was Trotter. He got the ball away on the far side, and it was unsuccessful, that raid.
That's very good thinking there down that short side too from the little number 19 in James Trotter. Good pass to the side and great defence there at the last second by Hekanenai. Bulldogs found short there. Travis Roach, the left centre, caught in the marker position.
So Tom Kerr not coming up with the desired result. Still no score after 6.5 minutes. Round 11 of the New South Wales Cup. Martin Tapau plays it back to Junior Tia Khalifi. Tia Khalifi goes for a 8-metre dart, confronted by 3 Jets. Vautu leading the way in defence to Powell. Out the back to Ben Roberts, steps off his left and was confronted by James Trotter. Also coming across Takarangi. Downfield with Michael Hodgson. A good set from the Bulldogs here. They've certainly got a roll on off the back of some speedy play the balls. So the Jets will need to muscle up stoutly. Grubbing kick through by Ben Roberts, nicely weighted. It certainly gets Reece Pritchard's attention. Can he get back into the field of play? No, the Bulldogs will get the football back.
Great work from Ben Roberts there. That left foot kick on the left side and good chase from the Dogs. A very, very shallow in goal. Roberts did very, very well to judge that. Reece Pritchard back there covering quite well. You see there the chase then, he was close to the dead ball line as well then, David, but then he falls over and he's nearly out of the end goal.
Yeah, touch judge was on the spot, as was the referee. Watchful as always, Luke Phillips, and the line dropout to be taken by big Jonathan Ford, one of the Jets' better players. With Newtown still doing it without Chris Inahoro as well, who's been one of their major strike weapons, certainly was early in the season. Off the bench, picking up an injury that's kept him out of football for a number of weeks now. Hodgson, centre of the field, tackled by his opposite number, Caleb Deeb, and the diminutive Scotty Jones. Smith, away to Tapau. Tapau grasped there by Takarangi around the legs. Great chance for the Bulldogs to open the scoring today. Chris Armit goes for a run, and that's a great tackle across the top, driving him back. Armit plays it. Open side, Ben Roberts, now Romello. He'll be looking for runners. A poor pass. It came out to Ravakava, picked up by Tia Khalifi. He's over in the corner. They've scored anyway. The ball from Romello did them no favours, but they made the most of it. The outside man, it's 4-0. Kick to come.
What about the quick thinking there from Daniel Ravakava? Wasn't a great pass left to right from Joel Romello, and first points to the Bulldogs through very, very good thinking from Daniel Ravakava and a great finish from Junior Tia Khalifi. You see the pass there, long pass from Ben Roberts, clears 2 or 3 defenders. Romello decides to throw the face ball there again, a little cutout. Very, very well done, Daniel Ravakava. Puts it on his boot. Junior Tia Khalifi onside, over in the corner for the first points of the day.
Try on the western side of the ground. Attempted conversion to be taken by Chris Armit. It's an acute angle. Not a cloud in the sky in Sydney's southwest. Temperature around 23 degrees. It's a beautiful day. And Armit has put that across the face of goal. 4-0. Kick unsuccessful. A comment from our sideline commentator Drury.
Yeah, as Peter said, great improv from Ravakava there. Nice little kick, kept the ball alive. I'll tell you what, Timmy Cahill, he'd be proud of that one.
All right, Jonathan Ford gets play back underway here at the Crest Stadium. And here's big Hodgson. And that was a good tackle. Down low there, Courtner. Very effective. Ben Roberts out the back. And now this is Millington out on the edge. The second rower playing in jumper 20 this afternoon. Got it back to Roberts and now to Tapau, sporting one of the most prominent afros in the New South Wales Cup. This is Chris Armott. Armott put on the ground by Taylor Deeb and Scotty Jones. And they laid there a little long for Luke Phillips' liking.
A little bit ominous. You can see the penalty there too. Luke Phillips not putting up with too much time on top of the man there. A little bit ominous at the moment, David, the metres that the Bulldogs forwards are making off their own line. And early part of the field position by the Newtown Jets was based on their kicking game. With the Dogs, it's all about their forward roll-ons.
So Canterbury come downtown off the back of that penalty and a good touch find up. Hodgson to play it. Smith, does he go by himself? He skipped a couple of metres before finding Chris Armott on his right. 11 metres out. So Newtown under heavy pressure here. Romello, and he picks up Cutler on the fly. Now out to Ravakava. He'll be hard to stop. Newtown managed to do that though. Look at their defence drive in, 4 or 5 of them. No lack of urgency there. Here's Cutler from acting half. Had a crack and offloaded to the halfback Romello. Good defence, Newtown. That time it was Caleb Deeb around the legs. He cut his man down. Open side from Roberts. Through the hands, out on the edge here to Millington, and now uses his winger, Heka Nanai, and Nanai has come up with a try for the Dogs. That's 8-0 kick to come.
Yeah, great try there to the Canterbury-Bankstown side, their second try of the afternoon. The other winger this time, Heka Nanai, scores in the left side after some very, very good sustained attack. You can watch there, a great clearance pass from Nathan Smith, cleared about 5 heads. Benny Roberts, another long ball here. Grant Millington just hanging wide, just on the edge of the ruck there, pushes off Trotter and back onto the inside. Then defensively, they just didn't shut the gate. Junior Kalifi still had, Heka Nanai still had a little bit of work to do there to score that, but great football from the Doggies.
Armott, his second shot of the afternoon. This time from the eastern side of the field. That is magnificent. Was never going to miss. Straight over the black dot. It's 10 points to 0 after 14 minutes of play, Drury.
Yeah, great work from Millington there. He drew in that extra defender, Jonathan Ford, just getting sucked in, allowed Nanai to do what he does best and find the try line.
Drury Forbes, our sideline man, doing it tough this afternoon. He's a former Newtown Jet. It's hard to watch the game through tears.
There's plenty of Jets fans out here though today, Tappy, making plenty of noise, I can tell you.
Why are they throwing things at you?
Because they want us to move the van, they can't see.
Release now! Hold.
So 10-0 here at Crest Stadium. Of course, Drury's just joking. We wouldn't do that. And early days, Newtown are far from gone as Cutler prances in heavy traffic and got the football back to Big Hodgson. Had nowhere to go, took the tackle there off Courtner. Courtner's been very busy in defence, the Newtown number 11. He certainly stings in defence as well. Now we see the Bulldogs through Tia Kalifi, another attacking raid. Canterbury are having a bit of success on this side of the field against Newtown's left edge defence, and that's some run by Ravakava. They couldn't put him down. Eventually they did. The Bulldogs, Roberts toward the corner, and the pass behind the man, and that's unfortunate for the Bulldogs. It was looking particularly promising for them.
Yeah, I don't think Travis Roach was completely comfortable with where Benny Roberts was going there. Tapau being dropped off, not a problem there. And pass, yeah, just a little bit in front of Travis Roach. I don't think he was anticipating receiving that football. I thought he might have thought it was going to cross the face to Heka Nanai there.
So Jets now in possession. 12 out from their own line. Francis Vautu.
Hands here. Hold. Go.
Scotty Jones fires the pass away. And Newtown certainly needs some points. Cordner was crunched there in a terrific tackle by Tia Kalifi. The fans, they're very vocal here today. Reece Pritchard tackled to Scott Jones. And now this is big Caleb Deeb.
That's 4, up 9!
I'd apologise for my throat. It's that time of year. And now big Tuagamala.
Last one, up 9!
He's a massive man. Look at those legs.
13, up there. Good now.
They do Chris Close proud at his best. Here's a kick down to Trent Cutler. And Cutler wrapped up by 3 Jets. Jonathan Ford led the way, ably assisted by Akkari.
Surrender!
As Hekananai prepares to play it after having been tackled by Scott Jones, and away to Tapau. He runs straight into Ahmed Alaz.
Just watch that arm, 10.
Caleb
Be
Deeb
careful
also
with that.
there. Now Nathan Smith. Away to Ben Roberts, a long pass to his outside man, being Gary Warburton. Nice tackle by Vautu down low. Here's Tia Khalifi. He's looked good, Tia Khalifi, on this right-hand side. He has been a handful,
To me, 10 here.
whether in general play or running from acting half. The Jets are struggling to contain him. Romello across to Ben Roberts. That pass I thought went forward. It's on the outside to Roach. A kick over the top. Will they get it back, the Bulldogs? They do. It's thumped back. It was the last tackle, I think you'll
Release
find.
him now, it's 1.
Yeah, Travis Roach there just kicked the ball over the top, and Grant Millington on the end of that tried to tap it back in. We see a high shot there against Marty Tapau, just slipped up. A little bit unfortunate there for the Doggies, but good football on both sides. Newtown, look, might be 10-0 at the moment. You see that high shot coming in. It's a very high standard of game. Newtown are contributing to what is a fine match so far here this afternoon.
Enjoying it. Approaching midway through the first half. Scott Jones restarts play. This is Brad Takarangi. Of course, the Jets, to the uninitiated watching the program, has an affiliation with the Sydney Roosters.
2. Up, Chris.
Effectively, this is the Roosters' second-tier team. Now open side from Lazarus. We haven't seen Lazarus run the ball at all today so far. Here's Cordner. Nice break. Inside ball to Jonathan Ford. Will he go all the way? No. He's got support in the shape of the man that started at Cordner, who comes up with the try. Well, the Jets have hit back in spectacular fashion.
There was a great hit back there from the Newtown Jets, and you have a look at this, the tackle that was missed by Jolie Romolo, very, very unusual for Romolo. Great footwork though from Boyd Cordner. Long pass here from Lazarus, goes through a couple of sets of hands. You can see here now Jonathan Ford just picks up a regulation pass. You see the little step at the end there just put Joel Romolo off. Cordner, great young talent, this kid, had a hell of a run with injuries so far in his career. Jonathan Ford back up the middle. Cordner, who started this, backs it up and scores a try for the Jets. Good try. Good to see the kid getting some footy again too.
Here. So Lazarus, the attempted conversion. It should be 10-6 in a moment. Well done to Newtown. The Bulldogs were dominating territorially, and they make the most of their opportunities. 10-6, Lazarus successful with the conversion, down to Drury.
Yeah, great play from Boyd Cordner there. He effectively dragged in 4 tacklers, including the fullback. Nice backing up from Ford and then back to Cordner. Ball hits the post here, Tappy. Let's hold the phone. Bulldogs with the ball.
How often do you see that happen? Smith is going to play it, so the Bulldogs straight on the attack. Well, Newtown needed that like a hole in the head. Now out to Cutler. Cutler is wrestled by Francis Vautu. The fullback will play it back to Ravakava. Now Romello inside to Gary Warburton. 5 metres out from the Newtown line. They hold on.
Release him now.
So Greg Madison will be furious about that, but it's just one of those things. Hitting the upright and putting the Bulldogs back in possession on the attack.
2, 3.
Now Ben Roberts to Tapau. Newtown holding on for grim life.
Release him.
And the Bulldogs through Romello trying to get up and play it. Falling over a man in the ruck, it's Vautu, who should be out defending where they are now. It comes across to Warburton, and he's put on the ground 1 metre out on tackle 5. Massive chance for the Bulldogs. Can the Jets hang on? Roberts, a kick in behind them. It was just a little too long. These fairly narrow in-goal areas, and the Bulldogs coach not happy.
Yeah, it was something about that set of 6 there, that set, but once again, deep in goals would have helped this kick a lot more than what it was. Grant Millington, Johnny on the spot there with a proper in goal may have scored. Good defence though from the Newtown side, who were shocked from that kick off, the ball bouncing off the crossbar. Did very, very well to maintain their defensive line.
Tuagamala.
3. Move.
He's a big man, as I've said now 3 times, but he needs to work on his leg speed. He gets to the ball and he really dawdles to the line. He might be big, but he's not hard to tackle because he's got no momentum.
Yeah, I think 22 minutes in though, nearly 23 minutes in, he's done very, very well to last this long, and you'll find that the most impact props will get 15 minutes out of a game, and Francis is still out there, so and that again shows a little bit of tardiness.
And Pete, how brave am I saying he's easy to tackle when I'm sitting up here?
Very, very brave, David.
A lot of ticker-tappy. Bulldogs into Jets territory. 10-6. Almost 25 gone now. Far side of the field is Chris Arm at the lock forward to Powell going to the bench for a rest. So the interchange activity will now start. And Millington got the pass back to Nathan Smith. And the Jets have been at this end of the field defending their line for the last 5 minutes, I guess, and have so far repelled the challenge. Romello stepping back inside. Gee, I thought he was going to find his way over the line. He was tackled by Ilias. Open side they go with Big Hodson towards the uprights. He travels. You can see how close he is to the line. Nathan Smith now to the halfback Romello. A stabbing kick, southwestern corner. And it comes back this time to Ravakava. The ball is on the ground, being contested by the 11 Cordner for Newtown. 6 more tackles ruled by Luke Phillips. So Newtown have got to keep tackling their insides out for at least another set here. Gee, they've been under some pressure. Cutler, dummy, steps, then flicked it back to a man on the inside, Hodson. Here's Smith. Now the 17 is Harlan Alatoa. Alatoa being put into the match. Now Roberts, Cutler, and good tackle by Trotter in jumper 19. Was committed and put his man on the ground. They go down that very narrow corridor, the short side, and Newtown Jets defenders there in earnest. It's play on, comes back to Trent Cutler now. They must score surely, Canterbury. How much longer can Newtown put up with this? Oh, the Jets have got the ball. Scotty Jones has come from nowhere to fall on it.
I'll tell you what, though, they were coming in numbers in defence too, Dave. There's 2 and 3 men in every tackle, and they were backing up, supporting each other. The Dogs then just trying to get a few passes away in desperation, and that Newtown defence just swarming, picked up the loose ball and saved another bad situation on their own line. Or dangerous situation on their own line.
That was great scrambling defence by the Jets, Drury.
Yeah, it certainly was. Numbers in the tackle, sending a message to the Dogs in attackers. Ryan Verlinden, your man Tappy, he's on the field. And as you mentioned, Alatoa on for Tapau for the Dogs.
Here's a weapon, Verlinden. I think that's the word I used when we came on air today. And already showing what he can do in the 17 jumper. A massive man, formerly of North Sydney, and spent some time at the Cronulla Sharks too. Hasn't quite maximised his potential at this stage of his career. That's a great kick that will bring the game down Canterbury's end of the field. They will get the loosened feed though. Pete, you'd have to think Greg Maddison, the Newtown coach, would be happy with the scoreline.
He's going to be very happy. The amount of possession that Canterbury's had, the field position that they've had, the inability to convert that field position. But the Newtown's defence, you've got to say, is enthusiastic the whole way through.
Very much so. When you consider the wholesale team changes to the Jets too, they are certainly gelling as a unit defensively.
And they've had to be defending that way. The score at 10-6, they've been on their own line for a vast majority, or at least in their own half, for a vast majority of this nearly 30 minutes.
So Bulldogs through Warburton. Now Smith finding man on his right who carried the steed in about 10 metres. Now Chris Armott. That's tackle 5.
Here, mate.
Romello trying to step through, can't get the kick away, flicks the football back to Cutler, who put a kick in that's come off a Newtown hand.
Knock on here.
Been ruled a knock on. It'll be a changeover. The Jets will come up with the football.
He's not going to be happy with this. This is a poor 5th tackle option here from Joe Romello. You see now he's in desperation, put the ball back to Cutler. Cutler put the ball on the toe, but miskicked it to start with, then went off the Newtown player, ruled a knock on and a changeover. Not a great set of 6 to the Canterbury side.
Brad Moran, the veteran, now into the action for Canterbury. He offers plenty in jumper 14.
Hold. Go.
Kurt Kara on the field now for Newtown in jumper number 9, so he'll slip into the acting half role. And a turnover of possession very early in that set, which is disappointing for the Jets.
Hold.
Travis Roach, meantime, plays the ball for the Bulldogs. Half an hour gone in this game. You can see there Hekananai is down on his haunches. Not well. And awaits some assistance from trainers, you would think. Harlan Alatoa, meanwhile, surges forward for the Dogs. Verlinden was the tackler. Now back to Smith. And here's Brad Moran. Man has played a stack of NRL first grade. And he was tackled by Caleb Deeb. So the Bulldogs, they grind their way downfield in traditional Canterbury fashion. Millington, he got the pass away, so good second phase there as Roach gets to his feet and plays it back to Smith. Across to Ben Roberts, now to Romello, now Warburton on the outside to Ravakava. He then uses Tia Khalifi, comes back to Cutler, then back to the open side with Romello, finds Brad Moran going straight up the centre, and Moran actually lost the ball there as he was tackled.
I've got to tell you, that is great defence from the Newtown side. You can see the ball's been moved. You see Brad Moran there. Just as it comes to ground now, ball's just raked loose. Just unfortunate. Should have had control of that football, Moz. Great defence from Newtown, though. They just held their line. Canterbury had nowhere to go. It was going backwards and forwards. Newtown line just defensively held. And I'll tell you what, Madison's going to be very, very happy with this scoreline if this is what it ends up at half-time.
Let's go.
Yeah, and just on that, that's the third set in a row that the Bulldogs have had a poor finish. You look at that kick earlier that went astray, and now the knock-on. Just certainly letting off the Jets off the hook there on the last tackle.
This is Sony Taka playing it now. He's into the action, wearing jumper 15, and now we see Reece Pritchard is hammered by two Bulldogs. Ryan Verlinden off a fairly short run up on that occasion. Goes forward. Look how many people it takes. 4 blokes required to get this man mountain on the ground. Now back to Kara. Lazarus. The 11 is Boyd Courtner, who's been arguably Newtown's best with and without the ball. This is Ilias. I think you'll find the lock forward. It is. Tackled by Warburton. And his opposite number, Chris Armott. Now from John O'Ford on the outside they go through the hands. Takarangi got the pass away. This is James Trotter and a kick through. Pressure for Canterbury. They save the day, and coming back with the football now is Junior Tia Khalifi. He's stopped in his tracks there by Ryan Verlinden.
It's good work there, Tia Khalifi, in support of his fullback Trent Cutler. The Newtown side were wedging in on him, and Cutler skipped ahead then, got a long pass off to Junior Tia Khalifi. Did very, very well combination winger and fullback.
If you've just joined our coverage, this is round 11 of the 2011 New South Wales Cup, Canterbury and Newtown. Canterbury, the current competition leader, and of course defending premiers. Steve Azzi in 16 tackled for the Dogs. There's a stabbing kick between winger and fullback that goes into touch on the western side of the ground.
That's a better set of 6 for the Dogs, and a good result for them now. They've just stabilised things. 7 minutes to half-time. Really need to look at if they can put a point on up here at this stage of the match. A really dangerous part of the game now for Newtown this last 5 minutes before half-time, coming off their own line.
Francis Vaiutu is tackled. Here's Trotter. In jumper 19, left elbow heavily strapped.
Wait. Go.
As play continues here, and the Jets through Kurt Kara going for a scamper out of acting half. The Jets can be very proud of the way they've defended and the way they've competed in this game. The Bulldogs have had the lion's share of possession and field position, but their completions, particularly in the latter stage of the second half, has been poor. Newtown certainly hanging in there. 6 minutes until the break. Kurt Kara now across to the open side. Lazarus. There's a very long ball, an out ball to Byron Ford. Ford tries to get around his man, flicks it back on the inside, and it's gone wrong. Ball on the ground. That was unnecessary, really. It was early days.
It was a great reaction from Gary Warburton there. I've seen other forwards that would just stand there and watch that ball get very gathered by Newtown. He did a marvellous job of cleaning that up, Gary Warburton.
Here's Rabakava playing it back to Smith. Steve Azzi in 16. Beyond the halfway line, he carts the Steeden. Massive week in rugby league, of course. Origin 1 at Suncorp. In 17 now we see Alatoa. And now Romello. High in the air. The Jets under all sorts of pressure here, but Pritchard takes it and gets a penalty as well.
Yeah, he called Steve Azzi offside there, and I think he's also ruled taken in the air, is he not? I'll just have a look at this. Yeah, 1 foot off the ground, and he's ruled that he was also taken in the air. So penalty there to the Newtown side, lets the pressure off once again.
Yeah, you couldn't call that taken in the air. He had his left forearm on the guy's chest.
Have a look at his ruling. It's a little bit Nancy boy, that one.
Newtown down a narrow short side. Now James Trotter at acting half. Passes away to the lock forward Ahmad Ilias. Brad Moran, the tackler, along with Steve Azzi. There's a nice offload, and the Jets away. Blake Lazarus into space. He's got some speed too. Good defence though. The cover came across and crunched him. But Newtown, if they can get some quick ball movement here, a massive chance for them. Cordner gets his second. Well, the back rowers having a great day in the sunshine here at Bass Hill. Cordner, his second try of the afternoon. It's 10-all, can you believe it?
Yeah, after that long break, the Canterbury defence just didn't regroup, and Cordner found the spot right on the sideline there to put himself over for that try. But poor defence here. It was a great offload too, you've got to say there, from, I think it's Afamasaga there. Great offload. The halfback Blake Lazarus pushing up in support of him. Clean pair of heels there for young Trent Cutler. Junior Turkalifi, a great job here to shut Blake Lazarus down. And you can see from the ensuing play, the ball just didn't regroup in enough time. Cordner's seen the short side there, wide open. Daniel Ravakava tried to get onto his man. Trent Cutler just couldn't knock the ball loose, and a good try. Probably the result that Newtown would be surprised with, 10-all at half-time, possibly 12-10 leading at half-time. Against the run of play, but certainly a deserved result for Newtown.
Well done, Newtown. The way they're competing today, fantastic. This Foundation club. And now Lazarus, who played a role during the lead up to that Cordner try, will attempt the conversion. And that shot adequately demonstrates the challenge that awaits. Got it away, but hooks it to the left of the upright. So we're going to go to the break, more than likely, at 10-all rather, with just 2 minutes to go. Down to Drury.
Yeah, tremendous try to Boyd Cordner there, who trains full-time with the Roosters, causing the Dogs plenty of problems this afternoon. Speaking of the Dogs' problems, Ben Roberts, you may have seen vision of him earlier on the bench. He is off the field, and it doesn't look good. However, we will seek an update on Ben Roberts during the break.
Yeah, that'll be very interesting to see what Justin Holbrook does here now. He's got 4 forwards on the bench. Maybe a move of Nathan Smith to 5'8".
Afamasaga has done some good things for Newtown since being on the field in 21. He created the opportunity for that second Cordner try by virtue of slipping a magic ball to Lazarus, who tore downfield. And here are the Jets at it again through Francis Vautu. Perilously close to losing the ball there, but held on to it. Lazarus, and this is Afamasaga, the man to whom I was alluding, a prolific offloader. He thumps that back to Kara. Now it's out to Jonathan Ford, an out ball to Trotter on the eastern side of the field, and Trotter comes back infield before he was claimed by Grant Millington. Less than 60 seconds to go. Ford, a kick that looks too big. He's drilled that. Dead in goal. I'm not sure that was the kick his coach was looking for. Better off putting it up in the air and making a contest out of it.
Yeah, he might have been just looking for half-time too, David. I'm not quite sure what Jono Ford was doing there. So we can see Greg Madison, and I think he's going to be very, very happy with the situation at the moment.
He can be proud of his troops. They've competed particularly well. So Canterbury will just play this set out, then it'll be half time. And we'll go to the sheds at 10-all. Here's Smith. And away. And Smith thought he was getting it back again. It comes to Newtown as we see Byron Ford working with Blake Lazarus and Razzle Dazzle from the Jets. The siren has sounded. It comes to Ilias, and now it's with the back rower Tangarangi. He finds Trotter. Trotter sets sail for the corner. He's got plenty of speed too. Flicks the ball back inside to Jonathan Ford, who kicks it over the top. And the referee has blown his whistle. That is half time. And we will go to the sheds at 10 points all. It's been a very entertaining game of rugby league in the first half. Looking forward to the second stanza.
Newtown is coming. Hear the Bulldogs humming. Newtown, Newtown, Newtown is flying. There'll be no denying. Newtown, Newtown. 13 men all dressed in blue.
Newtown, a very good performance given the field position Canterbury enjoyed. Tia Khalifi and Nano, the try scorers for the Dogs, arm at 1 from 2. Courtner has got 2 tries for the Jets. Lazarus, 1 from 2. Stay with us, won't you? A thrilling second half is imminent. Thanks for being with us. Welcome back to the Crest Stadium at Bass Hill. We're all tied up at half-time. 10-all Canterbury and Newtown. Now a recap of the first half highlights with Peter.
Yeah, first try there to Junior Turkalifi, a little bit lucky off Daniel Ravakava. Second try to the other winger, Hekanenai, after great work from Grant Millington, but the defensive line didn't say square and close the gate on Hekanenai. That put Canterbury up 10-0. Then all of a sudden, Boyd Cordner hits the line here, beats Joel Romolo, beats 2 other defenders, puts Jonathan Ford away. Ford's caught in the late tackle, and straight away Cordner in support. Good work to Boyd Cordner. This is after a long break from Blake Lazarus. Cordner just sees the defensive line not reset, puts it to the sideline there, scores the second of his 4 pointers to put the Newtown Jets equal with the Canterbury side at half-time. Looking forward to a very, very good second half of football there.
Yeah, me too. Enjoyed the first half. Newtown showing great courage. Were forced to defend on their own line for long periods. And Canterbury, well, the Bulldogs, current premiership leaders, letting themselves down with their completion rate, particularly the back end of that half. So now the Bulldogs get us back underway here at Crest Stadium. Round 11 of the New South Wales Cup. And we might take this opportunity whilst we watch Newtown ruck it out from deep in their own territory through the lock forward. Ahmed Elaz will go down to Drury Forbes now and find out what the coaches said at half-time.
Yeah, thanks, David. We'll start with Greg Madison, Jets coach. He was very upbeat. He asked his troops to keep the enthusiasm, stay composed. He said they're not going to give us much, so we can't give them much either. And as for Justin Holbrook, there is some breaking news coming out of the Bulldogs camp. First of all, he said they were a bit disjointed. He wants them to complete their sets and dig deep. Now, Ben Roberts, he's got a knee injury. He won't be back. And Hekanenai, who actually played out the half, is also out for the rest of the game with some concussion concerns. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I've been told Grant Millington's going to play 5'8", and Harlan Alatoa, expect to see him somewhere in the backs.
All right, thank you for that comprehensive wrap-up of the latest news from downstairs. Here's the Dogs on the attack. And Newtown find themselves defending on their own line yet again. It's all too familiar. Now Cutler, and he drives toward the line. Yeah, we saw Nanai down on his haunches late in that first half. The pictures were graphic, so picking up concussion.
Yeah, you can see here, that's going to be a big loss, Hekanenai too, on the wing, but you can see Trent Cutler, they're not finishing off this set of 6 for the Dogs, and I know they're finishing off this, or starting off this second half, how they finished off the first half, the Doggies.
Scotty Jones started the match at hooker for Newtown, receiving some assistance from trainers on what looks to be a troublesome lower back. He made a good contribution to the diminutive hooker forward. Scrum packing, about 10 out from Newtown's line here. Sorry about that little bit of static you can hear in the background. That's from the referee's audio. A little bit of crackle. will work on that. So the Jets doing the hard yards. South of Masaga.
I'm just going to say, Grant Millington's got to be the biggest 5'8" since Olsen Filipina, doesn't he?
And Newtown through Kara. That was a good run. A darting 12-metre effort. Moran across the top, and Takamoka down low affected the tackle. Now Big Valinden. That's an excellent carry. Got well and truly beyond the advantage line. Smith the tackler. Kara out to Blake Lazarus. They've got some bodies in motion. Now the Jets. Here's Cordner, who picked up 2 tries in the first half. He certainly has been a standout for the Jets and has been damaging on that left-hand side. A grubbing kick towards the eastern touchline will find the desired mark, and that's a good kick. So the scrum will pack. It'll be a Canterbury loose and feed. Early stages of the second half. So Luke Phillips taking plenty of time over this, the referee, the former Rooster. Ball in now, and Newtown win it against the loose and feed, but Phillips not happy with it. Our scrums have changed.
You got Ryan Verlinden is packing in at hooker. I mean, we've made a farce of scrums, haven't we?
There's a lot of people miss the genuine contest that was commonplace in the 70s and 80s. The Battle of the Hookers. It used to be a genuine contest, didn't it?
It did.
In striking for the ball. But there were far too many penalties back then, weren't there? Emanating from scrum infringements. Enough of the nostalgia, on with the game. Canterbury in possession. Centre field. Tia Khalifi to his feet, and there's good defence by Boyd Cordner, charging in with the right shoulder. He was ably assisted by Kurt Kara. Takamoka was on the receiving end of it. Big kick downfield. That might have a little too much on it, too much Vegemite for sure. It'll come back to the 20-metre line, and Newtown will restart play.
Let's give the Canterbury defensive line a move forward there, and they really need to have some options on their sets of 6. They're playing very laterally, Canterbury. I would like to see them continue to play how they started the first 20 minutes by hitting that line, getting them forwards to establish themselves, and then looking for their options out wide.
Now Cordner finds Vaiutu on his outside. He flicked the ball away to Byron. Ford is away into Tutso. Great tackle far side.
That was a great tackle from Joel Romolo. He always pulls off 1 or 2 of these each game here. A little bit of poor defence there. Junior T. Khalifi had come in, left his man open, and you can see here little Jolie Romolo, a la Scotty Sattler, that try-saving tackle from the grand final in 03, which I want to reminisce about.
I knew you'd say that. I knew you'd say that. You were with the Panthers back in the day. We've got a player hurt over here, and it is Vaiutu who threw the ball out to the winger. It was a beautiful pass. Well done to Vaiutu. He's been hurt in the process.
He's run into Junior T. Khalifi's shoulder in that tackle. As Junior's come in to shut him down, he's run straight into that shoulder.
He's been good for the Jets too, Francis. He is in absolute Disneyland at the moment. And assisted from the field by 2 trainers. Be unlikely he'll be back. Let's go down to Drury.
Yeah, I'll get an update on Vaiutu when I get the chance as well. But, gee, back to that 03 premiership by the Panthers. Wasn't their assistant coach a masterstroke that year?
Stroke you in a minute.
Cut it out, you two. Mutual Admiration Society. The Dogs centre field in possession. So a good game here. As he plays it, Smith. There's a nice offload, comes back to Smith again. Brad Moran, he got the pass away to Warburton, who charges down the short side. Lazarus clinging to him up top, and Cordner down low. So here come the Bulldogs again. This time it's Junior T. Khalifi. Had a very solid first half. The Bulldogs right centre. Back towards the centre with Romello. Ball onto the chest of Takamoka. Couldn't handle. And the referee has ruled is that a strip?
Yeah, he's ruled a strip here, and you can see, and yeah, it's not a bad call. I reckon that's a 50-50 call. Joel Romolo has just put the late pass onto the lead runner. Takamaka did very well to hold it to start with. The referee said yes, he did have control of the football and it was stripped. I think it's a 50-50 call, but the Dogs will take it.
Here's Big Alatoa, tackled by James Trotter. So a huge chance for the Bulldogs here to open their second half account. Now Martin Tapau back into the action. The mobile Afro. And tackled by Afamasaga. Moran, through the hands they go. Open side at Crest Stadium. Good defence out there. Snuffing that out, Romello was absolutely smothered. Here they go with the lock forward, Chris Armott.
Okay, that's 4.
Tackle was made by Kara, and I think Pritchard out there. Now Romello looking for someone. Found Tapau standing out wide. He's a big unit. A massive don't argue there. And it's been knocked on.
Yeah, just a little bit unfortunate there from Marty Tapau. He's used the bumper bars as well as the ball there, and it's been knocked out by the number 15, Sione Taka. You can just see it here. Tapau comes in, steps around Jonathan Ford. Taka comes in, and just at the last moment, Marty Tapau loses that grip. It's a danger that you use sometimes when you've got your bumper bars and the football working to fend a guy off.
Yeah, so Sione Taka got the big don't argue, but ended up prevailing in that exchange by getting the ball back for his team. 10 all.
Put your heads in.
Over 8 minutes gone in this second half. And we might go down to Drury whilst we watch this scrum pack for an update on Francis Vautu, who was taken from the field concussed.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately for the Jets, it is concussion, as we see a penalty here to the Jets. Yeah, not for the first time this year either that Vautu's left with concussion, so let's hope he's okay.
See that penalty there that's taken the pressure off the Newtown side once again. Canterbury stripping the football. A couple of days later in this first half of the game today, and they're continuing into the second half.
Here's Takarangi tackled. He'll play it back to Scotty Jones. Jones back into the action now. Afamasaga, meanwhile, goes forward. He's tackled on the halfway line by Tapau. Here's Jones probing, looking for a way through. There was too much defence on that occasion, though. He'll play it back to Kurt Kara. So Kara and Jones both on the field now. So we now see a bust here by Takarangi. Inside ball to Trotter. The Jets flying high at the Crest Stadium, coming up with another try. They hit the front for the first time in the contest. It's 14-10 kick to come, and the kick will be a sitter.
Will be a sitter. That edge defence is once again a worry for the Bulldogs side, and you see here it's just a two-pass spread. Jonathan Ford there just runs overs, keeps running overs, Grant Millington coming in the unfamiliar position of defending left 3, comes in, leaves the hole completely open there for Takarangi. Good support up the middle again from Trotter, and as you said, David, it's going to be a very, very easy conversion.
Lovely hole running there by Takarangi, who positioned himself beautifully to take the short ball and open Canterbury up. Well done to Newtown. As we see the kick from right in front successful. So the Jets 16 leading Canterbury 10. During the half-time break, our sideline commentator Drury Forbes had the chance to catch up with Bulldogs NRL captain Andrew Ryan. Of course, Andrew taking part in that match last night for Canterbury, going down to Canberra in Canberra. And here's that interview now, Drury and Andrew Ryan.
Andrew, down here watching the New South Wales Cup on a Saturday afternoon. Good to see so many first graders supporting the New South Wales Cup side.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, most of our full-time squad are in the New South Wales Cup team, so yeah, there's plenty of good players on display out here today, and it's a good game of footy so far.
Let's talk about Josh Reynolds, New South Wales Cup player that was called up to play last night in your game against the Raiders. Tell us a bit about him and some of the other guys that you expect to get a call up at some stage in the season.
He's been outstanding for us. he came into the full-time squad over the summer, and he got his opportunity in the trials, and now once Michael Ennis was out in the Origin team, you know, he jumped at it, and he can play half or hooker, and he showed last night that he's well and truly up to it, as a lot of the guys in New South Wales Cup. So I'm sure that all the other guys in the team see what Josh and some of the other guys are doing and realise that they can be there too.
Yeah, thank you to Andrew Ryan, articulate as always, chatting with Drury. Fantastic player he has been for Parramatta, Canterbury, New South Wales, Australia.
You know, I've been to a few clubs, David, and he's got to be the best club man I've ever seen. And he's absolutely amazing. He turns up to these, turns up to the junior reps. His work in the community is second to none. He is truly a great ambassador for not only the Canterbury Bulldogs but rugby league.
Couldn't agree more. I've had the great pleasure of interviewing Andrew many times over the years on radio and TV, and he's just a delight. Okay, Canterbury marching downtown, and Romello, a very high kick, and the chase is good from Canterbury. Well taken at the back by Newtown, however. And he was driven back too after having taken the ball. Reece Pritchard in a good tackle by Warburton. Was fortuitous really not to be tackled in goal.
He's been great at fullback, Reece Pritchard. Hasn't taken his eye off the ball. Been a lot of pressure. Gary Warburton, Trent Cutler there following that kick through. He didn't take his eye off the football once.
Ilias has been hurt in that tackle. The Jets lock forward. Meanwhile, Byron Ford took a run. He was quickly tackled. Jones pass away to Ryan Verlinden. Verlinden charging at the line once again. Gets beyond the advantage line. Was interfered with by Brad Moran there. Lucky not to be a Newtown penalty. There's Ilias stretching in back play. Now Ford into acting half and drills that kick deep into Canterbury territory. Is it going to pull up? No. Dead in goal. It'll come back to the 20 for the restart with Cutler.
I think the other thing kickers don't realise here, besides the short in goal, it's a very hard surface. It's a tightly mowed couch grass, and that ball does get a hard roll, and yeah, very, very hard to judge your kicking on the Crest.
Yeah, just looking at it at the moment, it almost appears that it's almost kind of going over kind of a bit hilly as well if you're looking at it horizontally.
It's called drainage. It's the concavity of the surface, so that you've got some drainage on it.
Will you two stop? You've been bickering all day. Bulldogs in possession, centre field with Travis Roach. Now going for a run is Ravakava. He's been fairly strong, Ravakava. Well, there you go. Newtown coming up with a penalty.
He was facing the sideline. You have a look at this. I thought he was lucky to get away with it, and he didn't. Have a look at this play of the ball. Danny. He just lost his... Yeah, that was a good call, Lukey Phillips.
He was facing the eastern touchline, so massive chance for Newtown now. Down they come into Canterbury territory. Off the back of that penalty, Kurt Carr now playing a running forwards role. When he came into the action, he went into the acting half spot with Scotty Jones off the field. Jones back on now, so Carr is an extra running forward. This is Caleb Deeb, tackled some 6 metres out from Canterbury's line. Back to Jones, now to Jonathan Ford, onto the chest of Takarangi. And Takarangi can be a difficult customer to tackle. He set up the Jets' most recent try to James Trotter. Across to the open side, Ford takes them on for one of the few times in the game, really. He's big enough to do plenty of damage. Away to Caleb Deeb. And charging toward the line, but was held up there by Michael Hodson and another. So great chance for Newtown now with Lazarus. He's stepping and found a way through, but I don't think he's maintained control of that ball. He's lost it across the line.
You watch this here. Blake Lazarus just got the defence going sideways there. You can see defensive line coming across. It was Steve Azzi back inside there, and this is... Oh, gee, I tell you what. I thought it was a brave call from Luke Phillips. I would have awarded that as a try.
Oh, I thought you were going to give me the downward pressure argument. No, he's lost it cold.
I would have awarded that as a try.
Good to see Lazarus taking them on, though. He backed himself and threaded the eye of the needle. There are a lot of bodies in front of him. Here's Michael Hodson to play it for Canterbury. 16-10. 56 and a half minutes of rugby league behind us in this game. To the open side come the Bulldogs through Martin to Powell. Ford the tackler. That's the 5th. Now Cutler, he explodes onto it from a standing start and got the pass away. Problem was it was to the opposition. Scotty Jones comes up with it and he's grinning accordingly.
The last tackle, once again, Trent Cutler decided to run and the option on it was not great, and Newtown come up with great field position, working from their 40 metres already.
Here's Reece Pritchard, he's away, Pritchard! He's into open pasture, put down the glasses. The Newtown fullback will sprint 50 metres and put it down behind the uprights. That'll be 20 points to 10, kick to come. The Jets are soaring here.
I'll tell you, I understand that Anthony Minicello is not going to take Minicello's place, but I don't think Reece Pritchard's far away from a first grade run, NRL run at the Jets. You can see he's been great under the high ball. This is just shabby defence once again. Joel Romolo caught going sideways, back up the middle, didn't close the gate. Marty Tapau didn't have the speed to match it with him. Trent Cutler was already up in that line after that turnover. Reece Pritchard has had a wonderful game here this afternoon and thoroughly deserves that try. Shabby defence from the Dogs, but good football again from Newtown.
He's been safe under the high ball today too, has been tested on multiple occasions. So Lazarus is going to convert this from right in front. It'll be 22-10 midway through this second half. This has been the best performance from Newtown I've seen for quite some time. Given that Canterbury have played from in front, they fought back. It was 10-all at the break, and Newtown scoring 12 unanswered points in this second half.
Their halves have been very dominant. Lazarus and Ford have just totally controlled this match this afternoon, as opposed to the fact that the Dogs have got Roberts off. Romolo's a little bit off his game this afternoon. Millington now at 5'8", and that's been the difference.
Yeah, but off the back of good go forward, Pete, from the likes of Valinden and Carr and Takarangi, Korsner.
And that's where I think the Dogs have lost that direction. First 20 minutes, as you remember, David, it was go forward, and they played off the back of that. They haven't done that.
Down to Drury on the sideline.
Yeah, just going back to that try, Reece Pritchard, back where he belongs at fullback. That's where he played last season with Western Suburbs, and he's really excelled, I've thought, since Steve Norton's got the call up to the Roosters. Going back to those short in goals, I thought he was going to run dead at so short. Reminds me a bit of the old Olympic Park. Not just for the in-goals, with the athletic field as well.
Yeah, it's a fair call. Melbourne Storm's former home, and there's a kick that's got too much on it too, so Cutler will come back to the 20.
Well, most kicks have got too much on it, Tappy, when the in-goal's 4 metres.
In the middle, in the middle.
You won't get an argument out of me. So Smith will restart play.
It's all right.
This is Daniel Ravakava. There's plenty of time for the Bulldogs to surge back into contention. They'll need to work on their completions for starters. I shouldn't imagine Coach Holbrook would be delirious with their performance in this second half.
Is there any more word on Ben Roberts from the sideline, Drew?
Not exactly, Peter, other than it is a knee injury, as we heard earlier, and he's definitely not back. There's a bit of concern, though, that he could miss a few games other than this one.
Here's Grant Millington, given some room to run. Newtown hanging off him a bit there. The tackle of Tuagamala was stung in that exchange. He's up on his feet now. So Canterbury, a good roll on here, and they get a penalty too.
Hey, Brad, you got the penalty.
Bit of push and shove. Brad Moran not happy. That penalty for a flop?
I think it was, yeah. Have a look at this in the tackle now, and he's just ruled the flop. And look, that was pretty low. No, it is. He's dropped his body across there, and that's a flop. That constitutes a flop. Brad Moran, though, always the peacemaker, Bradley.
Here's Brad, straight at him. Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Moran. And welcome. 3 Newtown players sized him up and smashed him.
Scotty Jones and Brad Moran in back play.
Here's Hodson. Hodson going forward. So Canterbury, a spring in their step now, must score to maintain a chance in this game. To Powell, that's good defence. Big Tuagamala across the top, giving it to him. Now Smith, he goes for the line. Look for support, there was no one running. So Smith will play the football gingerly, clutching at his ribs after heavy tackle.
I think that was nearly a chicken wing. That was actually a shoulder in that tackle, and you could see his arm being pulled back there. And I noticed the referees warned a couple of times this afternoon about that tackle.
Across now to Millington. And a kick over to the corner, the northwestern corner. Newtown has it. It will be back to the uprights for a line dropout. 22-10. And Newtown breathing a sigh of relief there.
Yeah, that's a better set of 6 for the Dogs. They've got a result out of this at any rate. Grant Millington playing the pivot role this afternoon with a deft little kick across for the number 5. It's Travis Roach, number 5. I was just thinking then I was off. Travis is playing on the left wing, and great work from Millington and a good set of 6 from the Doggies.
Peter, I've just got to ask, you know the Bulldogs squad more than most. Is Millington the best option at 5'8" for them today?
I think with what he's got on the field, bearing in mind he's lost 2 back rowers. Grant's got a great ball skills. He did play a bit of centre as a younger player on the Central Coast, and was only brought into the forwards late in his career.
Michael Hodgson returning the footy for Canterbury. Open side to Power, hard and straight, and did well. Got to the defence, turn and popped a pass to Smith. He's away the hooker. Good defence there, putting him on the ground. So Canterbury, massive chance for them. Cutler out of acting half. He's got support there in the shape of Millington. Millington runs, he dummies, then he's tackled by Tuagamala. Got the pass away back to a Newtown player, and they are away. It's Cordner, who scored 2 tries in the opening 40. And a good run, turning defence into attack. Well, it's that Canterbury completion problem again, Peter, rearing its ugly head.
It is, Dave. Nobody pushing up with Millington. They're looking for the second phase. That was a tremendous tackle on Cordner from young Joel Romolo too then. But you're right, Dave. It's just getting that pass away to the right person, basically. And people need to be pushing up, especially with ball players like Millington that you know is going to get a flop every now and again.
Kurt Kara trying to step his way through. 2 Bulldogs defenders standing there. Now Jones to Caleb Deeb, and Newtown good roll on here. They've been quite impressive today. Now away to Jonathan Ford, a grubbing kick through, Trotters chasing, and just too much on it. The 15 Taka was also coming through.
Yeah, that was well done from Trent Cutler here. Just shadowed that ball the whole way across and got himself an extra 20 metres rather than push the ball dead himself. Going to be very interesting to see how the Dogs handle this last 15 minutes with only 2 players on the bench as well. How Justin Holbrook uses his interchange these last 15 minutes.
Here's Cutler with the ball now. He's had a stack of experience, has Trent. That's a famous surname in Bulldogs territory. Moran to his feet. Now it's Junior Tier Khalifi. Was a massive handful in the first half, has not had the opportunities thus far in the second. Now from Smith, away to the lock forward, Chris Armit. Armit wrestled round by his opposite, Ahmed Alez. Again, apologies about my throat. Romello, meantime, he kicks through. It's play on. It comes back to Cutler. It was played at, so 6 more. This is what the Bulldogs need. They trail by 12, and there's 14 and a half minutes remaining on the clock. They certainly need to score soon if they hope to have a chance in this game. Here's to Power across field. The big man, good run. Our Trotter comes across and claims him. Now to Power looking for a quick play of the ball. He didn't get it. Newtown having time to reset in defence. Now Romello takes them on. The gap closes with Ilias, a good tackle. Kara was also there to help. Slow play the ball again. Cutler, one pass off the ruck, throws it out the back. Newtown almost coming up with it. Canterbury in all sorts of trouble here. Tia Khalifi on tackle 4 is put on the ground. Oh, we've seen Cutler, I think it is, accidentally poked in the eye as he ran out of acting half. You look at the Newtown coach, a study of concentration. It wasn't Cutler, it was Ravakava, I'm sorry, that picked up that facial injury. It's play on, 6 to go. It comes out to the Bulldogs now. They'll score here. In the corner, it is Travis Roach. They've hit back. 22 points to 14, kick to come.
Yeah, quick thinking there from Gary Warburton, who picked that ball up that went loose from the, I think it might have been Jonathan Ford that dropped it on that play. You're right, Daniel Ravakava has looked like he's popped a finger in the eye over that far side. He's just walked away with it. Kick here from Jolie Romolo, left foot kick. Good chase on the end of it. Good pressure there from Harlan Alatoa. Jonathan Ford just not quite sure of it. Was under it. Overrun there by the number 17 from the Dogs, Harlan Alatoa. Gary Warburton, Johnny on the spot, thinking quickly, saw that Travis Roach was out wide and unmarked and skirted for the corner. I mean, the Dogs really did need to be the next to score, but they've got to also be a bit more patient. There's still 13 minutes left in this game.
Attempted conversion has just missed to the left of the uprights. 22-14, that kick would have been handy. Down to Drury on the sideline.
Good hit back from the Dogs. I tell you, it was a good thing they scored, because that man, Martin Tapau, after that barnstorming run, if he pops it to Alatoa, they had 2-on-1 on the left side, the Dogs, but great kick from Romelu and good try. I think if there has been one positive on Romelu's game today, it's been his bombs. They've been fantastic.
Here is the man, Romelu, returning the football.
You never die running with Joel Romelu. He's you know, he always gives it 100%.
Hodgson. He's put a big effort in today too.
It's good to have him back, actually, David. It's a time of the season you need all hands on deck. We're getting towards the middle of the season.
Yeah, for sure. Here's Moran now. Good second phase. The Bulldogs throwing the football around. Out now to Harlan Alatoa. He's tackled 1 metre short of the halfway line by James Trotter. So, still enough time on the clock. 11 minutes remaining. The Bulldogs trailing by 8. Hodgson slips as he comes to the line. Fell over awkwardly. Cara just came across the top. Here's Romelu, and another high kick. Massive kick. That'll bring snowflakes. It comes down to Sione Taka. And Taka safely for Newtown, trying to get up and play the ball. Here's Reece Pritchard, the scorer of a fantastic solo try, a 50-metre effort, beating a number of players, leaving them in his wake. Ilias. He's been solid for Newtown, the lock forward. Was hurt earlier in the game, so has shown some ticker to continue playing as strongly as he has. Cordner, far side of the field. That was a good run by him too. Lazarus, away to Ryan Verlinden. Once again, doing his job. He's become very much the meter eater today. Here's Pritchard to the line and a kick. And that's going to finish up at Campbelltown. Not quite. Back to the 20 we come. Under 10 minutes remaining now.
It's still not a bad result for the Jets. They were coming forward. Their defensive line is set. Gives them a little bit of a break, and the Dogs have still got to work out it deep in their own half. I just don't think they're playing well enough at the Dogs to get out of this game at the moment. With 10 minutes left, they really need to start to go back to their basics and go forward and then look to spread it from there.
They look good when they come left.
Yeah.
And give the ball some air.
Oh, it's hard for them. Like you say, you lose Ben Roberts, you've lost a lot of attacking options as well.
Hodgson. To the line he goes. Great tackle, little Scotty Jones down low. Here's Moran bursting onto the football. Some enterprising play from Canterbury. In 16, it's Steve Azzi. Scott Jones tackles again. Across the top was Caleb Deed. That was tackle 5. Romelu will undoubtedly go to the air. He does. Over on that eastern touchline. It's a contest. It comes down to the back row of Burton. Referee's called a knock on both ways. He's going to award the scrum feed to Canterbury.
Yeah, come back. Junior Tuikalifi, I think it is. It's challenge for it out here once again. He's up in the challenge. His rule has come off the... the
Newtown player, and then the back
Gary
row.
Warburton slapped it on. I thought it might have been even off Junior then. But
I've got to say I agree looking at that replay.
Yeah.
So Canterbury now assaulting the Newtown try line.
Quick up 21.
5 metres out. The 16 is Steve Azzi. Tackled by Caleb Deeb. And Ryan Verlinden also there. Smith. He goes right to Romelu, who decides to take them on. Romelu, he's there. Maybe he's not. He's lost it. Play on is the call from the referee. It's Reece Pritchard, who does marvellously well to return the football about 15 metres.
I think Jolie thought he was 7 foot tall, or Inspector Gadget that could stretch his arm out. There is no way he was going to put that ball down. Great try, but was never going to be there.
The Newtown faithful. Vocal they are. Here's Caleb Deeb for the Jets.
I reckon Terry Rowney's bust them in today. There's that many here.
It'll certainly rank as one of their better wins this season. Here's Scotty Jones. He's been good, Scotty. All the way to Afamasaga. Here they go again. It's Trotter. He was ankle tapped there by the man in 20 Millington. It's play on. Lazarus unfortunately couldn't handle. Well, that was great footy by Newtown. And now we see Ravakava with the football. He's lost it. It comes back to Newtown. Phillips has blown his whistle, however.
And he's gone back to the first knock on. He played the advantage here. Lazarus knocked it on. The Dogs picked it up. Ravakava made no ground, so he's gone back to the first knock on against the Newtown Jets on the 10-20 metre line.
They look like a good footy side, Newtown, today, don't they?
It was good play up the middle.
Scotty Jones did very well. He's played really well today. The 18. Here's Warburton down the short side. That's a good, aggressive run.
He's been strong. Every game this year, Gary Warburton has given 100% and has played extremely well.
Well, I think you said earlier in the call he's been arguably their best player this season.
I think he has, yeah.
Can't argue with you on that one. And it's unusual for me not to argue with you.
It is.
Now open side, come Canterbury. And what's happened there? Millington threw it to a player that overran it. The ball ricocheted back. And Newtown are going to get the football. And the clock is ticking over.
It's just hard here. You're talking about a guy that, I'm not sure if Milo was wanting that ball to Harlan or it was going to go across the face. I'm just not 100% sure. But that's the indecision that happens when you put players out of positions, especially in a tight situation like this.
Time off, briefly.
It's been by necessity too that Justin Holbrook's had to make those changes.
Just put it in.
Of course.
But you still can't take away the Newtown performance today. I think you said it, or it might have been Drew, said it's been the best they've played. That we've seen them a number of games this year. I think it's been their best performance.
Without a doubt. Ahmed Ilias, taken by two Canterbury players. I think it was Ahmed down low. And that is a very slow play. The ball. Kurt Carr now in possession. So Newtown might get another one here. 5 1/4 minutes remaining on the clock. Scotty Jones, short side. He uses big Ryan Verlinden. Verlinden wrestled to ground by Gary Warburton. Now Scott Jones keeps the pressure on, going down that short side. Good effort by Scott. He'll play it 10 metres out from the Canterbury line. Open side now to Blake Lazarus. Jonathan Ford, he'll put the ball on the ground. Kicks it through. Plucked out of the air there by Smith, I think it was. And Smith does well. There was plenty of potency on that kick. He gathered it in. So now Canterbury dead set out of time in this game. Not too late to score another try. But they're not going to score two.
3, 10. 10's here.
Harlan Alatoa is the man playing it for the Bulldogs.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they score in this set of 6, Tappy, they are half a chance. Let's not write them off just yet.
I base my comments on their completions in this half, which have let them down time and time again when they've been in good attacking opportunities. Here's Romello across field. He's ran a long way across field and eventually driven into the turf by Byron Ford. And a high kick that lands in the arms of Jonathan Ford, who was taken straight away by two Bulldogs defenders. Takamoka was one of them. Reece Pritchard. Good tackle. He's put on the ground after a run of about 3 metres. Scott Jones away to Kurt Cara. He's upended there by Daniel Ravakava and Warburton. Caleb Deeb. He'll take it up all day long. You're doing it tough, that fan, isn't he?
I'll tell you what, that gentleman there is making enough noise for the entire Bulldogs fans.
He'd give a Panadol a headache the way he's screaming. So 22-14. The Jets playing the clock down. That's what they need. A big kick downtown has been touched by Canterbury. Oh, dangerously close to going into touch. Trent Cutler now returns it. And he runs into the biggest man in the New South Wales Cup in Afamasaga.
Release him!
So Canterbury with it all to do.
2 up,
There's about 2.5 minutes remaining now. This is Tapau. Tapau trying to stomp his way through the centre of the ruck.
Hold.
Newtown's defence has been superb today, particularly in the first half. I think there was an occasion Canterbury had 4 consecutive sets on their line and they held them out. Here's a good run by Tia Khalifi. Unfortunately, the pass going behind Ravakava, who managed to recover, but it cost them all the momentum. Here's another kick from Canterbury. I think they're a bit frustrated by the Newtown defence and going to the air at every available opportunity now.
There he is again.
Hold, dogs!
You love the passion, don't you?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
He loves his Jets. As I said, he's making enough noise on his own to make more noise than all the Bulldogs supporters combined today.
I'll tell you what, Terry Rowney does a great job with these, doesn't he? The supporters, the players, the way the team presents, absolutely superb. It's not a bad band of tourists either, is it?
Scotty Jones to play it, tackled by Brad Moran. 1.5 minutes remaining here. Afamasaga now beyond the halfway line, wrestled to ground by Steve Azzi and Brad Moran. Scotty Jones waiting patiently at acting half. Jonathan Ford, a kick through which will go to touch on this western side of the field. So a scrum will pack, Canterbury loosen feed, and by the time they do all of that, there'll be less than 1 minute of play remaining. Gee, our director's getting some value out of this parochial Newtown cauldron over here.
Keep it in there.
Why not?
Keep it down.
You've got to give the Dogs a little bit of a rap here. They've got the scrum pack. They're not winding the clock down. They want to score a try before the end of this match, and they've certainly packed the scrum early enough to do that.
But a terrific afternoon. Good game of football in superb weather conditions. The crowd that is here, very vocal. Cutler will feed this scrum, and the time ticking over. Cutler now comes away from the scrum with 15 seconds remaining on the clock. This is Brad Moran, tackled by 2 Newtown players, including Scott Jones. Here's Jones again making another tackle. His work rate's been phenomenal, the hookup. And there's the full-time siren. Great performance by the Newtown Jets. Let's have a look at them one more time. And they played from behind. It was 10-all at half-time. And the Jets end up getting the job done by 22 points to 14. Cordner got 2. Trotter a try. Pritchard 1. Lazarus 3 from 4 in the end. Tia Khalifi, Nanai and Rhodes were the try scorers for the Dogs. Here's Drury.
Well, we're here with Jets second row man of the match today, Boyd Cordner, and mate, the Jets faithful, they're in full voice today. What a game of football.
Yeah, it was great, mate. All the boys dug in for each other. They were a first grade team, so we had to come out, switched on, and yeah, it was just great to get the win. All the boys put in hard, worked for each other.
Amazing defence at the end there, considering you got so many players out. Those Bulldogs were relentless, but you hang on, and as Matto wanted, you stay composed.
Yeah, like I said, it was just a big effort from the boys. We had a couple of players went down, and we had to work really tough as a unit. Yeah, it was just real great effort from the boys, real gritty effort.
How much of a boost does it give you when you got fans like this so boisterous cheering you on?
Yeah, the old faithful Blue Bags. No, it's great. They come everywhere. Most of them come over to New Zealand and support us too, so it's good effort and good on them. Like, they get us home in the end.
And how about a wave to the faithful, mate? Get over there.
Yeah, thanks, Drury. And Boyd Cordner going over to be greeted by some of his fans. So Newtown, terrific win here today at Crest Stadium. And the Jets, well, they continue to keep the dream alive. Now, we'll have a look at the scores in the other New South Wales Cup games in round 11. Manly over Cronulla. Auckland continuing their great season, 40 points to 18 winners over Balmain right eastward. North Sydney prevailing over the Central Coast and Western Suburbs, defeating Wentworthville. The clash of the Magpies there in a fairly low-scoring game. Windsor had the bye. The competition ladder, Pete.
Yeah, North Sydney's big win over the Central Coast. Obviously, the Central Coast side with players being promoted to the Knights first grade side. Auckland Canterbury now on top after Canterbury's loss today. You'll find now that Cronulla, I think they've been a great competitor in this competition at the moment. Still a little bit of a distinction between the top and the bottom half of the competition. Next week's games, Balmain Ride up against Windsor, Canterbury take on Cronulla, that'll be a great game. Manly up against Wests, Newtown take on North Sydney, Wentworthville take on Auckland at Ringrose, and the Central Coast Centurions next week have the bye. The Bundaberg Cup match this week against shows the highlights of the Bankstown Sports Club up against the Kingsgrove Colts, played out at Beverly Hills on the weekend.
Here's Kingsgrove now in possession, and Kingsgrove, this club having an affiliation to the Sydney Roosters, running out big winners in this game. And we'll show you all of the scores in the Bundy Red Cup round 11 in just a moment. That was a long-range try to Kingsgrove, and they scored plenty of them, as we see their big number 8 galloping onto the ball, Charlie Liano, who I think used to play for the Sydney Bulls, if memory serves me correctly.
Oh, he played for us at the Dogs too, Charlie. He was a first-grade player that came across from St George Illawarra to the Dogs, and the sports eventually got online here. Most of these are kids from the the Canterbury-Bankstown under-20s, the NYC players, and also some development players. So the idea is with both clubs, they're using a lot of their youngsters to get themselves into the big time. The results from those games, Cabramatta big winners over St John's 52-6. Mounties continue their form 24-16 over Windsor. The Entrance a tight one, a good win there over Wentworthville 18-16, and you saw the result there of the Kingsgrove side up against Bankstown. After round 11, that's the table, David.
Yeah, Cabramatta on top, 2 points in advance of Mounties, who are having a good season. The Entrance, Wentworthville and Windsor, the Bundy Red Cup is a top 5 final scenario. So Kingsgrove still some chance if they can string a few more wins together.
And we see next week's games. On Saturday, Wentworthville take on Windsor at Ringrose, Bankstown take on St John's at the Crest, and on Sunday, Kingsgrove take on the Entrance at Beverly Hills Park, and Mounties against Cabramatta at Mount Pritchard Sports Stadium. That'll be a great match, Mounties up against the Cabramatta 2 Blues.
Okay, and make sure you join us next week on our program. It's New South Wales Cup round 12. It's the Balmain Ride Eastwood Tigers to do battle with the Windsor Wolves. That match coming to you from Leichhardt Oval. Very much enjoyed this game today. Hope you have too. Enjoy State of Origin. We'll see you next week.